I'm David Valenti, and this is my best mate, Harper. Well, I was born in Geelong, Victoria, second generation Australian from Italian Spanish background. Average upbringing, middle class family. Dad worked at a fruit business. In those days it was typical to be working long hours, so I was mainly raised by my mum. At the age of 18 I decided to join the military, which I did. I was selected to join medical corps. So I spent 24 years service, or just on 25 actually, with some CF service and operational service in Rwanda in 94-95, in which I developed PTSD. Okay, so my title role over in Rwanda was what they call Company Sergeant Major, which is the guy that kicks your ass in the morning and kisses you goodnight at night. So he's one of those guys, you love and hate him. Yeah, we were tasked under the UN. The Rwandan Civil War was a 100-day war. It was officially over in the 94 period, before we had actually gone. The estimates are that 1 million died in that war, which I find very surprising, because when you think 100 days, 1 million people, and we're not talking artillery, major artillery pieces or bombs for aeroplanes, we're talking small arms. And 1 million people died in 100 days. Clubs, grenades, maybe grenade launchers, rifles, machetes, and pardon the French, but we used to brand them called fuck me off sticks, which were great big baseball bats basically, with nails hanging out of them. Fuck me off sticks. So when you think of that, 100 days and 1 million people, what's the nuke going to do? The whole countryside was in turmoil. Interesting enough, I watched a documentary, and it was depicting, I forget the gentleman's name, but he was the official photographer working for one of the networks in America, and he documented Rwanda in film. And you could just imagine his trauma, that he's focusing his camera on the shots that we're talking mass graves, and very much if you picture Auschwitz, then you get well, the country was Auschwitz, you know, not using gas, but all the implements that we just talked about. So it was an interesting document to watch. And he said at the very end, when you're surrounded with so much bad death, how can it not affect you? And then it was a very smart documentary. Went to India, where death is a happy death, because they burn the bodies at the Andes River. But the people who are around are there celebrating their transference. So there's a difference between being surrounded with bad death and good death. And it was a very interesting point that he made, and I sort of related that to a little bit. Rwanda didn't break the marriage. There was very much fractures before I deployed. And I think the deployment and time away gave us each an opportunity to go separate ways, which we did. Part of me died over there. There's one part of me that died. I'd changed, yes. Changed significantly. And when you try and idealise that or put in some sort of sense, I challenged my beliefs. I challenged why we're all here. What am I doing? What's important, what's not. Yes, there are things that we all did over there that you just wouldn't expect maybe in life that you would see. You'd read about it in books or you'd see it on the TV, but now it's in front of you, and there's a big difference. So yeah, there was a different change there, and I think that was once again complicated with the marriage breakup and the dysfunctional family that happened afterwards, which complicates it. And it all gets melded together. And there was one part of my life where I couldn't separate. I couldn't separate whether it was the personal issue of my relationship broken or family breaking down, because it wasn't just the relationship that broke down, the whole family unit broke down. I think I remember saying to you once that I just didn't care. And I had to think about that one. And it's true, I just didn't care, but I really didn't care about me. I didn't give a, I don't want to swear, I didn't give a rat's. Life was no more the same. It was me who was right, and the world is stupid. Doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. I remember getting diagnosed, I think it was Adelaide, through a military psychologist. Then I had no idea what PTSD was. I knew shell shock because we used to have a lesson, we used to teach it in the School of Army Health there, and there was such a condition called shell shock, which is PTSD anyway, back in World War II. But no, it was complete denial. It was, life had changed for me. Now, I mean, if you've got to understand on the professional side, because I felt that I failed in my job over in Rwanda as a CSM. Then the marriage failure and then the failure of being a dad. All these fails pop onto you, and I denied all those. I didn't challenge them appropriately. My way was 60s was sex, drugs, rock and roll, wasn't it? Here comes the 60s. So that's the way life was. I was posted to Adelaide, and I'd been away from my family around about 8 months now. And one morning, and it was a dear friend of mine, Philip Day, who went to Rwanda as well. Very supportive man, and his wife Sheena. Anyway, we were doing PT one morning, and as we were running around the camp, he said to me, so did the phone call to Sheena, his wife, last night help you? Well, then I said, what? He said, the phone call you made last night, around about 1:30. I said, are you joking? Well, we're running at this stage. And I said, are you fucking joking? I would never ring your wife at 1:30 in the morning. How rude and all that sort of thing. And again he said, well, that's strange, because I thought I heard your voice and you were talking to Sheena. And I said, Phil, I would never do. And he let it go. Around about 3 months later, I was visiting them there, having dinner with them. And Sheena said something. Then it sparked me. I did talk to her. Now, for me to do that, I wasn't on marijuana. I had not discovered marijuana at this stage. Yes, I was drinking a lot, but that night I hadn't drank at all. For me to do that, I had to get out of my room, walk down 2 flights of stairs, walk out to the hallway, make a phone call, because that's where the only phone was. Speak for an hour, go all the way back to bed, and cannot remember it. Until 4 or 5 months later, when she said a certain word, and then it clicked. So, I had hints something was going on then. Adelaide was certainly a place where the darkness is so bad that you can't see any light. It was Adelaide, and I had an office down the very back, and it would have been about 6:30 at night or something, but my furniture had arrived from the split up from Sydney after 15 years, and I just got a desk and something else, and I'm thinking all my personal stuff was thrown out and all that sort of thing, because I had no opportunity to do that. So that put me in a real dark, because that was like a visualisation. It's no longer going to be. This is it. So I did. I threw a noose over a beam. I call it, I think in the history they used to call it the short drop. Just use a steel. You have to research these things. And but a phone call happened, and it was my older son, Michael, and out of the blue he just rang, and not something that he would do regularly. So that interrupted the process. Other than that, there have been thoughts, but not to the detail that I went back and then. Hopefully, by expressing it and talking about it, helps people to say, well, he's got it, he's all right. So what? That's all you can hope for. Third night I was in the local bar, as you are, And I was sitting there, and there was not many people in the bar, and the door opened to the left-hand side of me. Two ladies walked out. One went behind the bar, and she was the bar lady, and the other one sat next to me about 2 chairs away, and she said, "I need a man." And I thought, what am I, a chook? And I began to talk to her like I usually can, and she wanted a male version to play in a play called Brenton versus Brenton. And that was my very first experience for stage. I didn't think I had any talent at all. I can't sing, I can't dance. Then I discovered drama, really. So that led a whole new world. Yeah, it has been for me. I mean, it's a cliche to say it saved my life. I mean, that's not really the story. The story, it has been part of a process. It's been part of a program which has included psychiatric or psychology treatment, medication, courses in PTSD, which has been sponsored by veterans. And I think there should be more awareness about those such courses. I think they are very handy. And the interesting with those courses, you can only do them when you're ready. You can't force them on people. In some cases, it's a long tour. For me, it was a short one, so, but that's been the important part why the acting has been important to me. Don't beat yourself up. Accept it. There are days when I can't get off that couch.